Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. If this is your first time here, well hey, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Twaiko. If you're a returning viewer, then hey, welcome back. Glad to see you again. So today, you're gonna be coming on a journey with me of trying something out. Now, let me explain what I mean when I say that. So if we turn you around, here is our bristlenose colony. So you can see a bunch of babies, you can see some of the adults like that one, the one back there. I don't know where our dominant male is currently, but then we've got, you know, the new bristlenose right there, and I believe on the other side of that sponge filter is the other newer bristlenose, one that we got in one of the recent videos where I bought some fish from a local hobbyist that sells fish, and then also where we got one from when we got the goldfish and we went ahead and put him in here. So we're monitoring everything and it's all looking good. But one thing that I noticed about this tank is that because we don't have the actual bristlenose caves in here, and we just need to fire them. We've got them completely made, and I could probably go buy a different version, but we've got the means to make our own, so I just have the PVC pipes in here for right now. But if you notice, we get eggs that kind of just get kicked out, and then the clutch kind of falls apart, and we've got all these eggs all over the place. And then of course they ripped out this Java fern from behind some of the PVC. So what ends up happening is, yes, we get some that grow, like, and really a lot that grow, as you can see from just the babies, even on that PVC, but we got some that are bigger, and if we look back there, some from a newer clutch. So we've had about 2 or 3 clutches just kind of work, right? So they'll take it into the back there, or they'll keep it in a PVC tube. It'll work, but I want to be able to make it work better. And we actually, underneath that Malaysian driftwood, might be our dominant male sitting on some eggs right now. So again, we're going to go on a journey. And I am going to buy the commercial answer to this as well. But today, I want to take that little sack right there and some of the other kind of straggler eggs, and I want to save them from being eaten. And I don't have a tumbler, and none of my local pet stores have tumblers. So what we're going to do, we're gonna make one. So we're gonna go on a journey today and make one out of some parts that I have sitting around the house, and we're gonna see how well it works. So first, I'm gonna get some of this tank water. I'm gonna get those eggs out before I do all of this and they get eaten anyways, and then we'll sit down and we'll work on that tumbler. Okay, so we're at the dining table right next to the 135, and here's the premise. So again, I don't have an egg tumbler. I am going to be ordering a egg tumbler from somebody, more than likely Aquarium Co-op, just because I need to buy a few other things from them as well. But I want to get the Zis tumbler just because I've seen really good reviews and things of that nature. So speaking of Aquarium Co-op, I've ordered a bunch of their products, and I've seen this idea be done with not Aquarium Co-op products, but it's just what I had on hand and some different things. So everyone's seen this. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen this, or if you're just in the hobby. This is the top of a sponge filter. So of course, typically what you'd have is you would have this, then the sponge, and then the base. I like to double up my sponges in a lot of aquariums. So what you'll see is you'll see this sponge, and then the base plate, which means I have a lot of these left over. So what you can do to make an egg tumbler is you can take 2 of these base plates and you can put it on top of each other. So hey, this is starting to look kind of like an egg tumbler, and especially because I don't have a lot of eggs, this seems like something that's gonna work. Now on top of this, you need some kind of something that's going to be able to protect eggs from falling through, because you can see there, that little cross pattern means that eggs can fall right on through. So how do we fix that? Well, you've got a couple of different options. So if you have pantyhose available, beautiful, use pantyhose. I asked my fiance and she said that she had some that she doesn't use that I could use, but I decided, how can I take this, and for somebody that has a bunch of stuff in their fish room, male or female or otherwise, that maybe doesn't have access to pantyhose. Now, could you go out and buy pantyhose? Yes. But if you walk into your fish room and you go, oh my gosh, I've got 700 eggs that have been kicked out, or I've got a cichlid that's got eggs and I need to tumble them now, whatever the case might be, this is for you. So I think all of us, at least when we start the hobby, we buy some things that end up not exactly working. So I really like nets that have a little bit of a wider netting mesh, so that way I can just scoop up the fish and not have a lot of resistance. The smaller netting ends up being a little bit more resistant. Now, when you have certain saltwater fish that have barbs and stuff, you find out very quickly that the smaller netting actually works out better. But you get a lot of stuff, like a lot of nets, a lot of stuff like this, some just random suction cups. You get a lot of stuff. So I don't really like this net. I usually only use this net as like a sieve for my brine shrimp. This is kind of just like the throwaway crappy net that I got from somebody at some point. I don't even think I ever actually purchased this net. But as you can see, I've taken this and this, and I've pushed it together, and now I've created a base plate around the net. So if we look at this side and it focuses on that T, well, guess what? There's a mesh netting in there now. So now it can't get through. Now I can also do that on this side, and I'm thinking about it, but the reason that I might not put it on this side is because the only thing that's gonna be able to crawl in there because of how big that mesh is, or how big that, that opening is, would be other smaller plecos. So I'll see, but even the bubbles should kind of kick them out. I'll probably end up putting the mesh in there, but the one thing that I've seen about the aquarium co-op ones in comparison to the other ones that I've seen that people have done this with, is that the aquarium co-op ones go over the tubing, whereas the other ones that I've seen kind of go into the tubing, like the tubing goes over this, so it's a little bit easier to affix this to it. But we're gonna go ahead and just make this work to the best of our ability. Let's take this old junk net that I never use, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a quick little cut in here. Beautiful. And then I am going to cut my way around, keeping this as good as possible. Probably gonna need a knife just to start this, because these, you know, very sharp scissors would be kind of beneficial, but there we go. That'll get it started, and then I can get in here with the scissors. But all you're gonna really have to do is just, once this is in there, just cut around it to the best of your ability. And yeah, I'm making this look very safe. So if you're children, don't do this without parental supervision, or just go get your parent to do it. If you are a parent or an adult, try and make it look a little bit safer than I am. But yeah, so basically all I'm doing is just doing a rough cut of this net to the point where I have it free and secured in there. And when I put it in there, I pulled it very tight, so that way it kind of makes sure that there's nothing coming out. But as you can see from how I've cut it off, and now that it is off, there's a lot of netting left. So I mean, you could make a fair few amount of these egg tumblers. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, if I just popped an airline tubing in there and then just dropped this into the tank with the bubbles in there, and then I adjusted the air on it, I mean, this is an egg tumbler. And it was just things that I had lying around the house. So I'm gonna probably beautify this up a little bit real quick, and then we'll throw it in the tank and see how it works. One quick thing that I thought about as well, before we actually jump over there, is I did grab these suction cups as well. So I've bought some heaters from Aquarium Co-op, and realistically you can get this from anywhere, but I grabbed these heaters from these suction cups from the heaters that you buy from them. It'd be really cool if it would, you know, turn that focus off. There we go. But basically this is just a typical suction cup. And what you can do, and what I've seen other people do, is I've seen them, like the Eheim glass heaters, they have that plastic bracket that snaps onto it. I've seen some people, depending on the size of the tubing, snap one of those brackets onto it and suction cup it to the side. Now, I think I'm just gonna be able to put it where I wanna put it and not have it go crazy based on the weight and where I put the line in regard to the tank itself. But we'll see, maybe I'm far incorrect from there. But what I wanna try and do is I wanna try to affix these suction cups to the secondary one and put some silicone on it, and somehow like figure out just a way to affix these to it, so that way you could theoretically just suction cup this to the side. Again, this is all just in theory, because I am just going to buy this heater as well, so we'll see. But now let's actually go get this situated. I'm gonna put the eggs in there and see how it works. Okay, so I think this is both success and success, if you get what I mean. And what I'm saying with that is, there it is in the back. Now, I tried to put some film on the top of it. I cut a little bit more out of the netting that we were using, and there was some issue with it, and of course there's bubbles. I just did a massive water change, and there's bubbles in the tank, but I got a large amount of eggs in there, as you can hopefully see, and I'll go ahead and try and punch in a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna really focus on those bubbles. Man, that is unfortunate, but you just gotta believe me, when this clears up a little bit and the bubbles dissipate, we'll show some more. But what I ended up doing is I put the eggs in there, and the clutch is still together, so it's kind of just gyrating back and forth. They're not tumbling, and it's a small tube as well, but I've got water flowing through it constantly. And down at the bottom there, you can see I added some more tubing. That is filled with pea gravel because I don't have silicone or suction cups. So that's kind of an option as well. It's an interesting option, but it's an option. So that's some pea gravel from an old tank. Actually, the betta tank that you would have all seen at this point, that's where that's from. Now, if we take a second over here and we look at this Malaysian driftwood, and I swear, just did a massive water change, gravel vacked everything, and then still we got crud coming out of everywhere, it seems like. But if we take a look at that little tail right there, I picked up that log and there was a clutch. The second clutch is actually under there and the male is still on it. So I'm gonna leave that clutch completely alone and just kind of play around with this clutch and see how this egg tumbler goes. Again, I think the Zis one that I'm gonna be ordering is gonna do far better, but hey, we got something basically. But let's let that sit and yeah, we'll check in on it soon.